G'day, I'm Mitch Langfield from In The Loop BNE. I've partnered with Sesame Lane and we're working together to divert food waste. The whole system is called a closed loop system. It's where the food waste gets produced, I collect it, it gets turned back into compost. The compost is then used to grow food and then goes back into the kitchen. So nothing actually needs to be wasted and you're continually building nutrient density in whatever garden you're getting your food from. So we do a bin swap with Sesame Lane. I bring in a 120 litre bin. They fill it up with food waste and only food waste. I take it away, turn it into compost there at my facility and then feed the compost to the worms. The end goal is so that we can produce a really high quality compost, something that's actually going to put a lot of nutrients back into the soil. Currently, a lot of soils are depleted of nutrients because of conventional farming, so therefore putting organic matter and nutrients that will stay in the soil then creates a more fertile soil and more rich, nutrient-dense vegetables.
Hi everybody, I'm Tiffany, Sesame Lane's Food Services Coordinator. We're so excited to be joining with Mitch from In The Loop. We cook over 5,000 meals every week at Sesame Lane, and that produces quite a lot of food scraps in that process. Our goal for 2023 is to have 0 food scraps going into landfill. In the last 12 weeks at Sesame Lane, we have created 20,000 kilos of food scraps. So partnering with Mitch from In The Loop will provide us with a sustainable practice to lead us to our goal. Each day, our chefs provide each classroom with a small rubbish bin for food scraps. They come back to the kitchen and then they're simply placed into a larger bin, and at the end of each day our chef takes all their food scraps to a main bin for Mitch to collect at the end of each week. 6 short weeks later, Mitch brings back beautiful soil for us, bursting with nutrients for the children to grow their vegetables and their herbs, which supports our Albert's Garden program.
Here at In The Loop BNE we use 2 different types of composting. Thermophilic, which is hot composting, where temperatures get above 65 degrees and stay above there for 2 weeks. From the start, the food waste comes in my van, we unload it, we weigh it, all the weights get logged for the clients so that they know what kind of impact that they have. After that, it gets processed down in the hot composting bays down there. After it's been down there for 6 weeks, it goes into a curing pile. The curing pile is then worm food. That'll either get sifted and sold, or it'll get sifted and fed to the worms. The worms here, we have 26 bins. They'll have about 20,000 worms in it each. They can process around about 50 litres of food waste each week per bin. From there, we sift the compost out of the worm bins. So what we're left with is a casting. Instead of most people know worm farms for the worm we only use the composts. The worm farms slowly fill up and the worms constantly are moving upwards. Once you get a full bin, then it gets screened off. That gets stored in buckets and then sold. So I would consider myself a conservationist in a way. I've always just thought, like, that's logical, like why don't we just do that, because it makes sense. So I don't know, just following those paths kind of led me to what I'm doing now, and I just think that that's kind of the way forward and what we have to do.